Hi, welcome back to Joel's DIY. Today we're going to be doing a DIY project, and that is replacing the cloth on these speaker grills for the Yamaha speakers, which would be this one right here, the Yamaha NS-A220. These are the original speakers that my dad had bought with his Yamaha amplifier and stereo system. Let's take a look at the job that he did on the grills. So as great of a job that Yamaha does in making their speakers, one thing I have to object is the design of the speaker grills. These, I remember just being very flimsy. They came with these little, I don't know if you want to call them like drivers or leads or whatever they want to call, but they came with these basically little rods that you would push into the speaker, and there would be just a little bit of space, probably about maybe 3/4 of an inch away from the actual speaker as the grill. Now, obviously, with moving around and adjusting where the speakers would be located, eventually the rods started to break. So I remember these little rods breaking, and as you can see, they still have the little end point into them that broke right off. So eventually these completely fell off. I think there's even, the grill's even broken, which is something we're gonna need to fix. But eventually they broke off, and also the cloth for the actual grill started falling apart or tearing. So what my dad did was he bought just some random fabric. I remember him going to a fabric store and just picking up this fabric that is pretty thick. I don't know if it would be appropriate to use for a speaker, but at the time that's all he could find. So so he got the speaker cloth and used some adhesive to glue it, and just went ahead and put some screws into the new posts, and that's how he attached them. So it wasn't the most professional job. My plan today is completely overhaul these grills, repair them. I actually do have the little Yamaha badge still, so I'm able to put that on the new grill. But we're gonna do a complete overhaul, and we're gonna repair this. I'm gonna go ahead and try some JB Weld, but in case that doesn't work, then I'm gonna just go ahead and screw on a bracket to kind of keep this from falling apart. And we'll see how good of a job I do putting new cloths on these grills. So this is the DIY project for today. So the first thing I'll do is I'll go ahead and remove this old cloth and take out these screws, and then try to see what we got to work with. Okay, so I was able to remove the screws out of the holes for the post. This cloth and the glue is so old that I can just rip it off the actual grill bracket, and you can see, I mean, this is the type of glue that's in there, so I'll probably have to get some Goo Gone and kind of remove that old glue. But I'm just going to go ahead and remove this with my hand. It shouldn't be that difficult, and we'll see what the grill looks like after I've completely removed this old cloth. Okay, so I completely stripped the bracket for the speaker grill, and I was able to remove that tape that was holding this together. Looking at this now, I remember exactly what had happened to this grill and why it broke like this. This happened during an earthquake. I remember back in it might have been 88 or 89, but there was a big earthquake. It was the Whittier earthquake in LA. And I remember these speakers actually fell face down, and I remember this possibly cracking and eventually completely breaking off. So this is why this is shattered or broken like this. But this is basically like the skeleton, the bracket that's holding up the cloth. So I was able to remove that old cloth. The old cloth is right there. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to try to clean this adhesive off. I got some Goo Gone. I'll just rub it down, and hopefully we can get all this glue out, or most of it off. And then we're going to see how we can repair this. Now, I did buy some new speaker grill guides. I guess that's what they're called. Some new speaker grill guides, and this is it. So this won't be a problem. I mean, we'll just drill bigger holes on the old speaker. But the problem also is that the way these are assembled, so let me see if I can show you one-handed. They come in with a little ball end, but once you put the speaker in, they go in like this. Now you can see that the speaker would completely go flush up against the speaker, and I mentioned that there was about a 3/4 inch gap, about a 3/4 inch gap between the speaker and this grill bracket. So I'm gonna have to try to figure out how I can adapt this. And also, I mean, obviously this is gonna be way too big for the holes that are already on there. So what I'm planning to do is maybe make an extension, glue it on there, drill a bigger hole so that these guides can mount, and then we'll try to adjust and see how far off the speaker I can get these for the thing to work as close to fixed as I can. Obviously, I mean, the parts, the guides for these, I mean, I've looked for them online and I can never find replacement ones for this particular type. I think they were only out for the 32 series for the Yamaha speakers, so I don't know. But I don't mind. I mean, this is already damaged and broken in half, so I don't mind just going back and just, you know, modding this to make it functional again, even though it won't be original. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and we'll see how that works out. All right, so I've cleaned out the little ducts behind the bracket, but as you can see, unfortunately I was not able to use these. I was, however, able to use these, which came with the pack of 8, or sorry, the pack of 12. So what I've done is I got some dowels and I cut them to size. From here to here is about 1 inch. So I was able to cut the dowels and screw them on to the bracket. Now this is probably not the best way of doing this, but I figured that just to save myself the headache of having to reorder some more brackets, I had this dowel that fit perfectly with these entry brackets. So, and if I can just demonstrate, and as you can see right here, it fits perfectly fine, no problem there, and we got those 3/4 of an inch off it. So I think that this will work just perfectly fine. I just went ahead and spray painted the dowels. You can see that right there. So I think this will work perfectly well. So I think now all we got to do is glue this broken part that's right here. And I got some JB Weld. Hopefully that'll do the trick. I'll clamp it up, and then the next thing will be to go ahead and put the new cloth on there. So here we go. All right, so JB Weld has been mixed up, and I've put as much as I could, as cleanly as I could, into the speaker bracket or speaker frame grill thing. So that's gonna hold, and it's gonna need to cure for about 4 hours. So I'm gonna keep it clamped up like this. We're gonna leave this here. I went ahead and cut out the other dowels. This is the dowel that I used. All I got to do is drill a hole right down the middle, and then hopefully we'll get the other plugs mounted for the guides. So got to get that taken care of, so I'll be right back. Okay, as I was cleaning this up and mounting the new dowels that will be the new guides for this speaker, I realized that this is also broken. So again, these were broken probably back in the 87, 88 earthquake that happened, the Whittier earthquake. So I'm gonna go ahead and have to fix that up with some JB Weld. I already have my little mix ready to go, so I'll get that done and clamp it down so that way I can let it cure. The other one's already curing over there, so we'll get this started. Definitely been more than 4 hours since I let this cure, and yep, that is rock hard. So I'll go ahead and take off the clamps and see how good of a bond we got. Okay. clips aside. All right, so yep, that looks pretty solid to me. That's not giving at all, so I think this product worked very well. JB Weld. I've used JB Weld before, and I just the trick is getting the clamps in the right place and also just making sure that you give it enough time to cure. But that definitely is solid. I mean, it's not, you know, moving at all. I mean, you can still see the crack, but if I move it with my thumb just also slightly, you don't see this thing coming apart. So I think that's good to go. I'll go ahead and grab the other one because they both were cracked. So let's go ahead and remove that from there. And yeah, this has definitely cured well enough. Definitely don't see any problems there. Yep. Okay, so these two are both good to go. So what I'm gonna do now is we're gonna definitely test this adhesive first, because I'm not gonna cut into this cloth until I'm ready to make sure that this will work. So what I ended up buying was DAB Wellwood contact cement. This is recommended for jobs such as veneer, metal, carpet, repair, wood, plastic, and more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a test piece first. I got the old, get the cloth right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spread some of this glue onto this piece right here. And what it says here is you're supposed to let it sit there until it gets glossy for 15 minutes. And then you're able to bond it to whatever surface you want to bond it to. So I'm going to go ahead and spread it here. And then I'll set a timer for 15 minutes. And then we'll get this tested to see how well it works. I've unscrewed the bottle. And as you can see, it comes in a nice little brush. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and spread this on this piece right here. And let it get tacky for 15 minutes, and then we'll try applying the cloth. So here we go. All right, I already applied it, brushed it on. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set a timer for 15 minutes and let it sit there, and then I'll be back to put this cloth right on there. So here we go. All right, so it's been 15 minutes. It's not as glossy as when I left it, so now I'm going to see if it actually adheres to anything. So I'm going to go ahead and put my phone down so I can properly attach this cloth and see how well it tacks on. So let's find out. I went ahead and got this cloth, and I pushing down, making sure that we got full contact. And well, maybe I should put more because it just doesn't seem, I mean, it sticks. But I think it could be a little bit more tacky. So I'm going to go ahead and apply more and see if we can get it to stick a little bit better. Laid on a very thick coat. I mean, you can see that it's very glossy because I definitely laid it on a little thick. So we're going to go ahead and let this sit for another 15 minutes and see if I can get it to have it stick to this fabric. But it's a good thing to test it out and make sure that it works the way it's intended to work. So I'll leave this here for 15 minutes and see if we can get it to stick on the material. It has to dry for about 15 minutes. Looks like it bubbled up a little bit. I'll go ahead and try putting on the fabric and see if we get any better results. I went ahead and put the cloth right on the part where I put the adhesive. And it definitely seems like it's stuck a whole lot better. You can see it right there. And yeah, I'm definitely pulling on it a little harder and it's not coming off. So I think that this is the result we need to put on the grills. So I think the next step is to go ahead and start putting the grills. Sorry, I think now it's time to put the adhesive on the grills. Hopefully we'll get this thing assembled. Before I add the adhesive, I wanted to show the cloth that I had purchased. This is purchased off Amazon. So it's typical stereo grill cloth. In the back, it's a little bit different because it's the front is more like a mesh, but the back is actually a solid cloth. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this to size as soon as I have the glue set up on the grill frame, and then we'll get that assembled. All right, before we glue, I went ahead and made the outline. I got 2 inches off each side. We should give us sufficient room to make sure that this is on tight. So I'm gonna go ahead and just cut around the grill and just follow my line that I've already made for the outline. So I just did about 2 inches off the actual grill, which should be sufficient enough. And as you can see, once that's glued on, I'm just gonna push it on there and let it glue on the actual frame. So that should work just fine. All right, so the glue's ready to be used. This has been cut to size. So I will start on the long side. We'll go ahead and push the fabric right into this little channel, and then we'll repeat the process for that side. So let's get to it. All right, so far so good. It's looking good. I was able to press the cloth into the channels and it's holding on really well. So I think now the next thing will be to do the short sides, and then we'll get into folding the corners. So here we go. Okay, so we have everything mostly assembled. Now we're gonna deal with the corners. So what I'm gonna do is we will put a dab of glue here and we will fold this so that we get a nice tight bond right there. And then once we're done with that, we can trim off the excess. So I will go ahead and start dabbing the glue on every corner, let it settle for about 15 minutes, and then we'll tack this on, and then I'll trim the rest so that we can have the finished product. All right, so we're basically at the last step. The glue has already tacked on, so I'm just gonna go ahead and take my fold and fold it over to glue that part right there. So let's get that taken care of. All right, so the corners have been folded. Now I'm gonna get a razor. This is a brand new razor that I'm using here today, so I'm gonna be able to trim just on top of the little channel and make sure that I can clean all this up. I always recommend using a brand new razor when you're doing this type of thing, because the cloth can get caught on the razor or you'll get frizzles, and you don't want that. You want a nice clean cut, so always use a brand new razor. All right, I'll go ahead and take care of those corners. All right, so here we got the finished product. So the corners, I've kind of added a little bit more glue just to make sure that they're tacked on tight. And here's the front. And I'm very surprised at how well this came out. Got the badge back on. So this is basically my process of replacing the mesh on these things. Let's go ahead and have a look at see how this looks already mounted on the speaker. All right, so here's the final result. Completely new mesh on that speaker grill. And I have to say I'm very, very happy with the result. Definitely brings this speaker back to life. It almost looks stock. You know, obviously it's not, so I've got a little bit of crease there. That'll go away eventually. But I'm very content with it. If you look at the sides, you know, these dowels do the job very well. And you definitely see how sturdy these are. These aren't moving at all. I mean, compared to how they were before, this is definitely an improvement. So this material is a little bit spongy, so I had to actually get some double-sided tape because these badges weren't sticking to the two original holes that hold them. So, but you know, it does the job. I mean, it's not perfect, but as long as it sticks in there. So yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the second speaker grill, and then we'll get a chance to see them both. All right, so here's the finished product. I gotta say, I'm very impressed by the material that we used, and just it almost looking mint. This is my final thoughts on this DIY project. It's a wonderful way of getting these speakers to look new again. Obviously they're not, I mean, they're over 30 years old, but you know, luckily I had most of everything intact, and it took a little bit of figuring out how to glue this together and how to find the right cement for this type of cloth. But I think overall I'm very happy with the result. This foam material is really nice. I mean, it kind of looks like what it is, a real speaker cloth. I'm not sure if I would use this double foam again because I didn't really like how foamy it was. Although, I mean, it looks nice. I think it looks fine, but I don't know if I'm too happy with the extra foaminess that it has. But, and I say this only not so much aesthetically, but just the fact that it was kind of a pain to make sure that this was glued on, since this is kind of a double-sided material. But anyhow, I think that it looks pretty good, and I think I'm very happy with the result. All right, well, this is it. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this video is helpful to understand how this project goes, and thank you very much for joining me, and have a wonderful day. Thank you.